This series of slides concerns India, the Great Pyramid, and Nibiru. What we have here is an overlay of the pyramid internal structure, and this line across here is the distance into the Queen's chamber, and the length becomes a latitude, so from that point there is 1521.7914. 1521 is Job 1521, and it is the destruction of the sinner. This distance here, 1727.8573, to the far wall of the Queen's chamber, and the Queen's chamber is entirely unfinished. It's just white limestone. In my case, I have to break out of the coffer in this area here, go through a key to open the antechamber, and that is genetic, go to the great step, down through the grand gallery representing the earth, and then into the river of paradise and lead all the righteous into it. So that's represented here by this red line. So we've got several key numbers already. We have the 537.0278, and that's the distance from that step there to the far wall. Where I was born, (942 miles from the solar eclipse that occurs on November the 14th, 2012. The solar eclipses are always measured on the 25-degree latitude, north or south. The 942 one is in the south latitude on the 25-degree latitude. And from where I was born to the eclipse that occurred on the 25th of January 1944, the distance to my crib is 8,888.8 miles. If we project straight down from that longitude to the latitude of the house I was in for 13.13 years with Mary Magdalene, who was Michelle 9, that distance from that point to that point is 537, which is that number there. So my task is to go through the world of blood, wake them, the righteous, and then lead them into paradise, which is 1521. 1521, when you combine the concordance number in Hebrew and Greek, it is to lead into the river of paradise. So here's the overlay on India, and to give it proportion, that is the baseline there. It comes down and meets this part of the coast. This is the descending passage, and you'll notice that the black line going up through, this is the tomb, a natural formed grotto in the bedrock, and this is also a natural formed grotto in the bedrock that the builders were able to build down through the rock, which is here, starting here, and when they reached this point here, they leveled it off and then went 26 feet into this naturally formed grotto, which is very, very large, 43 feet by 27 feet or something like that. And we see that this all lines up point by point on the coastline of India, here and here, etc. Now, these numbers here convert to 1521.795 north latitude by the second one is 91727.857. At that latitude, it is 57.240536 nautical miles per degree. And the width of the Queen's Chamber is 206.06593 pyramid inches, and the distance around the Earth at that level is that number there in nautical miles, the same number. Where I lived with Mary Magdalene for 13.13 years, the distance to the South Pole is 5813 kilometres, and that is the height of the completed pyramid based on a base of 36524.24 divided by 2 divided by 4. The distance around the Earth at that latitude is 31680 kilometres. So we have that. That's the 5813 number from Nell Street to the South Pole. 31680, and the line at the 1521 latitude around the Earth is 206.06593. So 20,606.593 nautical miles. There it is. Same number. Now, Hinduism is the oldest reference to Jesus by name. They predicted the cross, that it would be Jehovah, Yahweh, or Yahweh in flesh, God Almighty, who would come to the earth as Jesus. The body of Jesus was the genetic line of Judah. Judah is a tribe, it's not a religion. The Vedas predicted he as a man will be made known in 2012. The Veda Noah story, the raven equals Satan. It was sent out twice. The second time it didn't come back, and it lands on Sri Lanka as a spirit. And Noah, in the story, says that no man was to live there, as Satan would infest the people and via man's sins escape worldwide. Now the point being, all of the evils of the earth is created by man. I've mentioned before, and if you're not familiar with it, these are the latitudes and longitudes that are found in a program that I opened while I was over in Fiji curing people of their diseases. And what happens when you install software in a program like this, Magellan, you don't get any of this in there. This was put in by the angels. So we have the Ararat. This is the Ark, because it says 3168 here, Ark, Lord Jesus Christ Ark. And we have the latitude of the Ark, 3950,564 by 4414,567. That number there, 4414, is the height of a solar eclipse that occurred 4 years ago, and it is Isaiah 44:14 referring to Asherah. This number here, 107726, is the age difference between Charles I's beheading and my birth, and the distance between two homes addresses Padstow in England and Padstow in Australia, and the street or road name is Trevone Road in Cornwall and Trevone Street in Australia, in Padstow. we measure that, and it says SP, so you measure to the South Pole, and that indeed is what it is in nautical miles, in kilometres. But when you change it to miles, it is 5813, the height of the pyramid again, which is 5813 there in nautical miles to the South Pole, which will give you that number again. The 3069 is the Lord, and you measure from this point here to the Great Pyramid. I'll just show you on the program. So what we're going to do here is we'll go to the South Pole, and then we'll measure from the South Pole to this number here, and it's 107725 or 26. When we measure from this area here to the 1521, we get 942 kilometres, and that's a number which goes across India and is the number that is located by the latitude of the 1521 791 length in pyramid inches into it. When we measure to the arc itself from this point here, so we'll just roughly do that to Ararat. We do it in miles. It's 3168 miles. So this is all sacred numbers in this area here. We carry on. There's just an overlay of the numbers. That's the width of the antechamber, and that's the distance around the Earth. There should be a point in there. And the 5813 number is coming up. And this is all confirmed by decades after I'd done all this information in my previous attempts to wake the man up. Now, this one here, the length of the antechamber is 116.2603. So I'm in the king's coffer mathematically. There is 5813 pyramid inches from the wall where the coffer is placed. And as 5813 gives you a distance from the South Pole to the home I was in with Michelle, who was Mary Magdalene. The word Mary means stubborn, obstinate. And of course she is very much that way, very stupid woman. And she, however, had no say in the matter. She conceived a baby and gave birth when she was 32.75 years old, and my two daughters, one daughter 11.626 years older, that's Tracy, born in Port Alberni, Canada, May the 4th, 1968, and her birth sister is Nicole, and she is 2.127 years older than Michelle was when she gave birth to Rhiannon when she was 32.75 years old. And of course the conception took place in Geelong, and the baby was born in Geelong, and the sunrise to sunset for December the 20th 1979, 777 days after my youngest daughter, or 2.127 years, was 888 minutes. So this is how I had to escape into the second coming of Jesus. So Yahweh is in here in all these sacred numbers, because this is a pillar to the Lord in the midst of Egypt, Isaiah 19:19 and 19:20. So I come out of here, I've got to get through this here, and this distance across this is 1162.6. So I have to get through here. That distance across there. It's based on a circle, 365.2424, divided by pi gives you 116.2603. Now, to get out of this requires numbers which are 11626. So the antechamber is 116.26 wide. That number there is 537.0278. The height of the wall is 230.05379. And the distance from the centre line to the centre of the king's coffer is 286.1. Now in the coffer, you go into the pyramid in the king's chamber, the corner of it is broken out. In other words, nothing can hold the Lord. No problem too great that can't be solved in creation. So what we do is we add those numbers together, 537.0278 plus 286.1 plus 230.05379 equals 1053. This is Galilee, referring to the Talmud. 18159 times a lunation of 29.53052 equals 31101, which is the verse total of the King James Bible, 31101 verses. And the 7 names that are found in 1 Chronicles 5:13, the 7 names have a total Hebrew concordance number of 31101. And I was born on Julian Day 24-31101. It's January the 11th, 1944. So, we have 1 Chronicles 5:30, has 2 numbers in it, 2127, which is a daughter's difference in age. 2.127 years between Nicole and Rhiannon, Michelle, Mary Magdalene's daughter, who was 32.75 years old. That word is Jakan, that word is Zia. And ironically, the other day we met a little girl down by the pool, and her name is, darling? Jadzia. Apparently it's out of Star Trek or something like that. I've never heard the name of a child like that before. So here she was, Jadzia. Her friend that she was with, her name was Taylor. Father's name Marshall. Okay, to continue. Michelle's daughter, Mary Magdalene, was born on December the 30th, 1979. My youngest daughter, November the 2nd, 1977. My eldest daughter, May the 4th, 1968. I married on April the 23rd in 1966. That number there is Lucifer. Indeed, I married Lucifer. I've yet to meet a person more evil than my first wife. I was 1162.6 weeks old, which is 22.28 years, which is Mount Kosciuszko's height in metres, 2228. From Mount Kosciuszko to the address I was with, 150 Unit 4, Nell Street, Greensboro in Victoria, Australia. The distance is 169.4 nautical miles, which is Emmanuel, which is only found once in the New Testament, Matthew 1:23, and it has a total value in Greek gematria of 8880. So there's the numbers continuing again, and what I'm pointing out here is that Tracy, she is 11.626 years older than Rhiannon, who was 2.127 years younger than Nicole, and Michelle was 32.75 years old on December the 20th, 1979, and she is 1162.6 days younger than I, so March the 19th, 1947. And so we have the 11626 number in weeks, we have the 11.626 number in years, and 1162.6 in days, which opens up the antechamber. We'll go back to that. There it is there, that distance across there. So I've come out of here, this has been kicked out the side of it. I've come through here, out here to the great step, down and down through the world, the cubic inch of this grand gallery is the same in square miles of the Earth, and it's the same as my name in gematria, 197 million square miles. So, Mount Kosciuszko is the highest mountain at 22.28 metres, so 22.28 years. Then we have Isaiah 11:1, which would be my birth date, and when you count every seventh letter in Hebrew from right to left, you get a total of 888 for these numbers here, all adding up. And then on the conception date, which is the same as the rising from the dead in Jerusalem, the 96th day of the year, Australia time, 95th day of the year, Jerusalem time. We add those all up, and we have 888. So I'd advise you just to go and read these two verses. I'm not going to put them here. I've done it many times before. I'm getting a bit tired of it. Now, this is India. From Colombo, or I'll show you the waypoints in a moment, to that point there is 942 kilometres. That's how many times the word Jesus is found in the New Testament verse total. With the return of the 7 planets of the red dwarf, antimatter, twin of the Sun, it is the dwarf itself here, is fixed to the Sun, but being aligned with its planets, antimatter gravity, has moved slightly in front of the Sun. Now, as these planets are coming in, it is lined up with its own planets because they're rotating around it. So the gravitational field of this and attracting the gravitational field of that, it causes its orbits. But because it's a negative antimatter and the Sun is a positive matter, we have a negative and a positive, which is hydrogen. So in other words, the Sun and solar system cannot exist in this realm without the electron, which in this case is the dwarf. So there's a close-up view of it. 3,600 years. Now that this time period is over, it's been captured and moved around the Earth, around the Mother. So the gravitational field of the Earth at its centre is a white hole, which is attracting the planets, which all have a negative at its centre, singularity. And we end up with this in our midst right now. And of course it is Gabriel. Comes through the Leo, the Lion of Judah, which is identified by the Sphinx. And of course, Yahweh.